What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, sadly, probably can't tell by my tone, but we're going to be taking a look at the last version of the Passat. That's right, the Passat is going away. It's getting axed, getting killed off. They're shutting it down. That's not to say that the Passat couldn't return in some form or fashion, maybe as an EV down the road, but this look and style of a gas-powered Passat is gone after this year. So yes, this is the 2022 Volkswagen Passat 2.0T Limited Edition. And there's a couple reasons why it's a limited edition, which we'll take a look at. A lot of them are on the inside. It also says a limited right there on the side, but they're kind of paying homage to the Passat of the past and kind of its history and things like that. Kind of like what they did with the final edition of the Volkswagen Beetle back, I want to say 2 years ago or so, maybe 3 years. So we'll take a look at everything that it has to offer here on the top trim level 2.0T Limited Edition. Let's get started. So starting up front, like I said, they're paying homage to what has been the Passat for basically as long as I can remember. So you have a very traditional looking Passat front grille, pretty clean, nothing too crazy. This is kind of the, the more premium step up above the Jetta, but lower than the Arteon. So it's got some more classy elements, less kind of sporty elements like the Jetta might have. But you do have automatic LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, and LED tail lights, and they feature the adaptive front lighting system with the cornering dynamics. So they're nice headlights. It's a nice set here. Very clean front grille, like I said, big Volkswagen badge, lots of shiny chrome elements with black plastic, a little bit of a body colored splitter, and then more black plastic at the bottom, and some parking sensors dotted around. No front-facing camera, no 360-degree surround view camera, anything like that, unfortunately, but it never has been an option, so why would they include it now on the final edition, you know what I mean? But you have some nice accents inside of the headlight cluster with these little hexagonal parts and some little lines to add just a little bit of intrigue to them. But again, they're pretty basic, as they always have been on the Passat. Underneath, you have that 2.0-liter turbocharged engine that I talked about. It's 4-cylinder, 36 miles per gallon highway, 24 miles per gallon city, so a combined 28. You have 176 horsepower and 206 pound-feet of torque. So it's a nice engine, a little bit slow to get going, unfortunately, but once you are going, you can cruise around, pass with ease. We'll talk about all that when we do the test drive towards the end of the video. Now, one of the cool things they're doing with the limited edition is in the name. It is a limited edition car, so there are only 1,973 of these, as a little callback to the first year of the Passat back in 1973. So if you get your hands on one, it is a limited edition, and you are, one of 1973, which is pretty cool. And they are offering several of them in the racing green metallic. We don't have that here on this one. This is the Aurora Red, which I prefer, but the racing green looks really nice as well. It sits on these 18-inch aluminum alloy wheels. They're a two-tone wheel with a nice little kind of chrome accent in the middle. I think they look really nice. You do have this limited badge right here, which is way different than any other badge that I've ever seen Volkswagen put on any vehicles. This might be a callback to an older model that they had this on. I'll definitely look and see. I'm not, a Passat history buff or anything, but I'll definitely see if that has some kind of special meaning. But, it is specific to this limited edition Passat here. Mirror caps here, pretty small mirrors, but they are power folding, power adjustable. They have position memory, integrated turn signals, heated, blind spot monitoring, the whole nine. And they are black mirror caps to kind of go with this red. So nice two-tone look. I like that a lot. Chrome trim that runs around the window sills here. You do have a tilting and sliding moonroof right here. It's not a panoramic or anything, just a little normal moonroof. Keyless access here on the door panels, little push button here to lock it and unlock it. All right, so moving to the back of the Passat here, like I said, LED taillights, nothing crazy. They're not sculpted or anything, but they do have, some intricate designs on the inside. So at least they're not just plain boring taillights. They do have a little bit of intrigue to them. Some reflectors here, parking sensors dotted around, a little bit of a chrome accent down at the bottom. Passat badging spaced out as we've seen it for quite a while with the Volkswagen badge in the middle. You can open the tailgate with the key here just by pressing and holding. It pops right out. It's not, power closing or anything like that. You can drop your rear seats. You have a decent amount of cargo space back here. I've got lots of my camera bags and whatnot back here. Looks like you also have some monster mats back here. roadside assistance kit, things like that. And I'll have all the dimensions for your cargo space here on screen as well. But it's a very generous cargo area, especially given how spacious the back seats are, which we'll take a look at in just a second. But yeah, pretty simple trunk back here, nothing too fancy. You do have a rear vision camera here as well, just a standard normal rear camera, nothing special. No exposed exhaust tips or anything. They're underneath the rear fascia, so you can't see them. Even if you get really low and look, they're covered. All right, so hopping inside the cabin of the Passat here, it's going to be very, very familiar for people that are familiar with the Passat. They didn't do anything crazy. They didn't change much. They put a couple nice little accents here and there, which we'll talk about in just a second, but it's very familiar. It's a nice way to send the Passat off because they didn't do anything crazy. They kept it very normal and made you feel like if you got your hands on one of these, you have kind of a little piece of history is what it feels like to me. So starting up front here, you do have this leather wrap steering wheel with a little bit of stitching on it. It's not contrast stitching because it's the same color as the leather, but it's not the new Volkswagen steering wheel. That's kind of what I'm talking about here. They didn't do anything new or crazy or make it anything different than it's always been. It's a very traditional looking old school Volkswagen steering wheel with the old school, well, not the updated old logo. Volkswagen's weird. Their new logo is actually their old logo from like the 80s or 60s or something. So this is the one they ran with like all through like the mid 2000s, 2010s, things like that. Adaptive cruise control on the left side, then your media controls for your Bluetooth and things on the right side. Lights, wipers, same as always. Past, you have just normal analog gauges. They didn't give you any digital display cluster or anything like that. You do have a little, screen in the middle that'll give you some vehicle information, but it's just one of those little tiny, like 4.2-inch screens or so, sandwiched between two normal analog gauges. It is a manually tilting and telescoping steering wheel, so that's at least nice to have. And like I talked about, it has a very old school look, so you have this kind of faux wood grain that feels like plastic, really. But you know what? It's what the Passat's always had, so they left it in there. You have an 8-inch display here. It depends on which trim you get. You could have a 6-inch display or an 8-inch display. And it seems like the only real difference between the two is the 6-inch display has physical buttons on the side, whereas the 8-inch has kind of these touch capacitive buttons on the screen itself. So a little bit different there. The screen itself actually doesn't look any different to me size-wise, but we'll go with what they say and say it's a quote-unquote 8-inch screen. Actually, I'm going to measure it to be sure. Yeah, so this is obviously rough measurements with my phone, using the little measure app, but it's saying that the entire display here is 8 inches and the screen itself is still 6 inches. So I think you're getting a 6-inch screen either way. You're just getting the buttons on the screen itself on the 8-inch because it adds an extra, inch on either side. Do with that what you will, but it seems like it's a 6-inch screen either way. But you are going to be getting some nice features with this screen. You do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You have built-in navigation. You have your Fender premium audio system that kind of pipes sound for the whole thing. And it's not the updated Volkswagen system either. Again, they're keeping it very traditional here. So you have this same little swiping bar that they have had on Volkswagens as long as I've been making videos on them. So 2016, 2015-ish, I think was the first time that I saw this screen where all the icons aren't laid out. They're all in one long kind of carousel instead of being, more traditional like smartphone where they populate the screen all the way up and down in a grid. Very old school. So you do have App Connect, so you've got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and then you've got like your images, so you can look at images on an SD card, Sirius XM radio, Bluetooth. You have a Climatronic dual zone climate control system here, so individually assignable temperatures for driver and passenger that you can sync. You do not have a climate system in the back, but you do have rear vents, heated seats for driver and passenger. Up underneath here, you have a little mat, no charging pad or anything like that you'd see on modern Volkswagens. You do have a 12-volt outlet and one USB-A port. Push to start engine with remote start on the key fob, 6-speed automatic transmission with Tiptronic and sport mode, parking sensors, and you have your park pilot system as well. Manual parking brake right here. Inside the cup holders, you'll notice this right off the bat when you get in here, but there is a map. Geographic markings and things on the inside of the cup holders that are kind of an homage to the Chattanooga Volkswagen plant where the Passat has been built since 2011. There's another call out to this right here on the seats, a little tag here that says Volkswagen Chattanooga since 2011. So in case you didn't make that connection right off the bat, there you go. But it is really cool, little topographical, geographical map with Volkswagen Chattanooga and the plant on the inside. Definitely cool little call out there. Inside the center console, a nice deep pocket, but no additional ports of any kind. Leatherette on the armrest here with some contrast stitching. The seating surfaces here are a Titan Black Vienna leather seating surface. The driver and passenger are both heated and power adjustable. The driver's side does have 3-way position memory as well. Up top, you do have a little sunglasses holder. You have your controls for your sunroof here. Slide that back. Very basic auto-dimming rearview mirror here, nothing special at all. A little bit plain cabin, but again, they're trying to honor, I think, kind of the history of the Passat and what it's always been. So they didn't go out of their way to do anything crazy, hardly at all. So people who are traditionalists and love the Passat are going to really like this cabin. It screams mid-tier sedan Volkswagen of yesteryear. Like I said, it's almost like a piece of history, especially if you get one of these limited edition ones that has, you know, the little tags and accents here to show that you do have a numbered piece of history from Volkswagen. Now, one thing you do have is a pretty comprehensive list of safety features. So I talked a little bit about it already. You do have the rear view camera, the park distance control, the park assist as well, adaptive cruise control. You have the high beam assist, so it'll, you know, dim your high beams when there's oncoming traffic, lane keeping assist, front assist with forward collision warning and autonomous emergency braking, pedestrian monitoring, active blind spot monitoring, and a rear traffic alert for that rear view camera, which we actually didn't take a look at. So here is your rear view camera. You do have, it seems like adaptive lines, and they show you kind of how far away you are from obstacles. By hitting menu, you can see your parking sensors for your front and rear, as well as a little overlay over that rear view camera. All right, again, I mentioned outside how spacious these back seats are, and really for the size of this sedan, you feel like you are on a boat here. It is very, very spacious. So I'm 6'1", I've got this driver's seat back pretty far to, you know, where I'd normally keep it. And I've got, I mean, probably like 3 inches of knee room here. Map pockets on both seats. I can tuck my feet up underneath if I need a little bit more space, but just the shoulder and headroom, knee room, it's up there in the segment as the most spacious back seats. You do have heated seats here for the driver and passenger side of the back seats. Center seat does not have it, unfortunately, but you do have this little center console you can pull out, get access to 2 cup holders, a nice armrest. So if you do have 2 full-size adults back here, no problem. They'll be super comfortable with their heated seats, with their USB-A ports right here. There are 2 of them in the back here, and there are plenty of leg and knee space. All right, let's take the Passat for a quick test drive. Go ahead and get a startup sound. Again, 2.0 liter turbo, 176 horsepower, 206 pound-feet of torque, 38 miles per gallon highway, 24 miles per gallon city. All right, let's get a little bit of an acceleration test. There's a noticeable delay once you push the pedal to the floor. It takes a second, but it's not slow once it actually gets going. Usability, the infotainment center is very clean. Very easy to use. It's a little small, like I said, it's about 6 inches as far as the screen real estate goes. So, you know, things like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are easier to use, but when you have things like navigation, like the buttons are really tiny to me, and I feel like it won't even let you use it while driving, but like hard to use while driving as far as just the smaller buttons. Visibility is pretty great in the Passat, big front windshield, pretty small A-pillar, no window cutout or anything like that, just full-size window on both sides. Rear view mirror is a little bit small, but it works for what you need. Braking, very responsive braking. Again, acceleration's nothing to write home about, I'll definitely say that, but it's not terrible for this segment. As far as the safety systems go, adaptive cruise control works well. Let's try out the lane keeping assist. Let's see if it keeps me in the lane here. I don't know if it'll actually keep me in the lane or just, yeah, it does a little bit. You saw the steering wheel kind of turn back a little bit. Let's see if it does the other way here. Yeah, it brings you back. It's not super aggressive, but it definitely brings you back if you drift. They kept it very traditional. They didn't change a whole lot. They didn't change hardly anything except giving you some of those little final edition accents. So if you're familiar with the driving experience of a Passat and you want a sensible, pretty inexpensive at around 30 grand, and that's with all those safety assists and being the top trim level, So if you want something that's reasonably priced, very, you know, a little bit sterile, but not in a bad way, and you want something that's, you're a fan of the Passat and you want something that's limited edition like this and numbered and all that kind of stuff, I really think this is a good pickup. You know, I'm not a huge fan of the look of the cabin, but it stays true to what it's always been. And for that, you know, you got to applaud Volkswagen. Well, thanks so much for watching, guys. Drop a like in the video if you loved it. Tell me in the comments down below, what do you think about the final gas version of the Passat? And I keep saying gas version because I'm not going to rule out that they might make it an EV down the road. Probably not, but who knows? What do you guys think about this final edition? Let's talk about it down in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be one of the first to see every single new video the second I hit publish. We'll see you in the next one.